Your body has natural steroids, and if you're able to maximize these natural steroids, you'll build muscle faster than ever before. The problem is that most guys think that if you want to build more muscle, if you want to go to the next level or maximize muscle growth, you'll need more whey protein, you need more supplements, more pills, more powders, eat more protein. But the truth is that your internal systems are key for you to reach your maximal potential when it comes to building muscle. And by getting your mTOR and myostatin right, you'll get to your maximal potential. And this is what I'm going to talk about on today's video. And why you should listen to me? Well, I'm a certified coach. I've coached people from 16 to 60 years old, male, female, in the gym, outdoors, online. I've had dozens of results in terms of helping people gaining muscle mass, losing weight, improving their digestion, sleep, energy levels, getting their health up, and making them actually feel amazing. And me, I've achieved strength features to almost elite levels, and I've helped people growing from 0 to advanced levels of strength, all naturally. To make it simpler to understand, I'm gonna make this analogy of gas and brake for muscle growth. So let's start with mTOR. mTOR is basically the accelerator. mTOR is what is gonna put you in a muscle building state. It's gonna activate the muscle growth. And this is how it functions, kind of. I'm trying to explain this as simple as possible. So you have the amino acid leucine, which triggers the mTOR, which will help with muscle synthesis. But you have also insulin, IGF-1, insulin growth factor, which is important for you to maximize muscle protein synthesis. And the combination of IGF-1 and leucine are key for muscle growth. The thing is, IGF-1 is basically an amplifier. Insulin doesn't build muscle alone, but it amplifies mTOR after training. Because you could have your daily dose of leucine right, but if you don't have your insulin right, you will not maximize your muscle growth. Now, how it is mTOR activated? It is activated by mechanical tension, which means training, the amino acid leucine, and IGF-1. And this is a good example of foods that contain leucine and will give you the nutrients. The IGF-1, raw milk, I'd say, is probably the perfect food for you to eat after your workouts. Why? Because it has all the macros, it is easily to digest, has a bunch of micronutrients that are needed for muscle growth, bone growth, health, general health. Plus you have the sugar that is needed for the insulin spike, which is gonna help you build more muscle, combining this with leucine. And I'm gonna share here the foods that contain the most leucine. And how to maximize mTOR? Leucine, like I said, is the ignition key. Here are the foods that contain the most leucine. Beef, per 150 grams to 170 grams, I have 3 grams of leucine. And have lamb, chicken, all these foods. And the recommended dose, according to studies, would be 10 to 15 grams, depending on your body weight. And you want training, of course. If you don't train, you will not build muscle. If you want to maximize mTOR, you need heavy loads, close to failure, compound movements. Not cardio, not circuits, not endless volume. You want very intense, heavy workouts. And you want to recover well from session to session. A lot of people do a lot of volume. They don't do heavy loads. They just want to feel the burn. But this burn does not mean that you're pushing really hard. You could do your body weight. If you do this 100 times, you may feel some burn here, but this does not mean that is the best for muscle growth. Fatigue or this burning sensation does not mean muscle growth, does not mean they're working properly. So heavy loads, close to failure, compound movements, manage fatigue properly, and eat these foods, and that will make some progress with muscle growth. But if you want to go to the next level, you need to know about the myostatin, which is basically the brake. Myostatin basically limits your muscle growth, and your goal here is to decrease the myostatin so you can have more muscle growth. Here's basically how this works. I'll be honest, I don't even know all of this, but I'll try to share what I know. So here we have what I explained just now, the IGF-1, and you have the insulin, the leucine here that will trigger the mTOR, that will activate the mTOR. And how myostatin work is that it will kind of suppress the muscle growth. So your goal here will be to decrease your myostatin so you can have the most muscle growth possible. And here are some examples of animals deficient in myostatin. The rat got pretty buff. This cow is a Belgian cow. They are genetically deficient in myostatin, so that's why they're this big. And I think they can inject animals with something that will inhibit the myostatin so they can grow. I think doing this for humans would not be a good thing because you will die early. Your organs will suffer. It's like taking steroids. But when you decrease it naturally, it's a total different thing. So how training affects myostatin? Heavy loads, close to failure compound, of course, explosive movements in sprint. This is why probably people who do athletics, especially women that run, they're pretty big. This is something I've noticed. Women who do these 100-meter dashes, that do these athletics are pretty jacked, and probably that's because they do these two type of training. They do a lot of explosive movements, sprinting, they do heavy loads, and this is probably why they're so big. They have big legs, big shoulders, big arms, a big body overall. So training is essential for you to decrease your myostatin. Then testosterone link. Testosterone naturally suppresses myostatin activity. So the more testosterone you have, the less myostatin you'll have, which is a good thing for you to maximize muscle growth. And I'll link here a video on how you can increase your testosterone. So applying these two things, you'll see your muscle growth going to the next level. And if you're interested in taking care of your health, going to the next level in terms of strength, health, building muscle, go in the first link description. Let's see if we can work together. Common mistakes. Well, light training, chronic fasting, poor sleep, constant cardio, chronic stress. These things are not friends with your myostatin. They will increase your myostatin, which will inhibit your muscle growth. So no light trainings here, no chronic fasting. There's a lot of people who like to do fasting, but doing too much fasting is not good for muscle growth. I've experienced this. There was a time when I was doing fasting for 2-3 months straight. Like I would eat 8 and then just the other day at 1 p.m. after training, I was basically chronic fasting, and this made me get super skinny. And when you do these things, your myostatin will rise. So if you apply these rules, eating enough leucine-rich foods, after training, you want to have this insulin spike. Milk, carbs such as potatoes are really good for this insulin spike. Combining this with leucine-rich foods, you'll have the most mTOR activation, which will help you with muscle growth. And also myostatin, if you apply these rules, you'll see that will decrease your myostatin and your ability to build more muscle will increase. But of course, there are other things with lifestyle, all of these things that influences your testosterone especially, that will take you to the whole new level. And if you're interested in coaching, go in the first link in the description. In my coaching, I teach all of these things to make sure that you go to the next level in terms of muscle growth, health, and all of these things. So that was it for this video. See y'all in the next one.